Into the draft, guys. All pick phase. Activated.
Now,
Everybody picking up the same
can
heroes.
the teams remember what heroes they had?
Lifestealer, Anti-Mage, Puck, Lina, and Nyx versus the Faceless Void, Darkseer, Bane, Sand King, and Templar Assassin. So we'll double checking. Looks like Mouse Sports is A-OK. And on top of that, moving on forward, EG is only a Templar Assassin away from getting it. So Demon's got that set. And we are good to go into the game. Highly anticipated, mostly because of stupid technical background things. But now we go on in. Bane shows his little face before we get the draft completed. 22 seconds on the timer. Back to the thoughts, the metagame, the interactions between the heroes. I believe that Sand King won't be as prevalent on the tri-lane until he gets some higher levels, level 3, but the main objective for Mouz is to deny them the potential to pull. They're going to go in, they're going to put a ward above the pull, not necessarily blocking it, but getting good vision on it, and whenever SK goes on in, that's their opportunity to go. He's far enough off the tower, they're not that concerned about the creep wave, they can go at the right place, the right time, and make a big impact. So, now we see here, super Wizard Hat, Syndra, and Lina going up on the top lane here. Let's go real quick through the rosters. Syndra, of course, picking up the Lina. Going up top as well, Koikwa is on that Lifestealer. We have Fata going on the mid lane with a Null Tally Puck. Black is going to be solo in the bottom lane with that Stout Shield regen and Quelling Blade. Has been pulled a little bit as Pause goes in with only a simple Tango and Clarity heading up, supporting on the Nyx Assassin up top.
See what? Yeah, it looks like they are definitely going to cause some damage up there. Oh man, Jo, he is going to have a rough time here. I mean, Fear is good, but there's only so much you can do with a Sand King when he doesn't have those levels. Level 1 Burrow Strike really not that useful, and it's going to be quite easy for Lina as well as the Nakes to dominate this lane, I think. Especially when you've got Koichi there, who can just open up with the open wounds as well, just to set up those stuns if necessary.
I mean, they have 3 versus 1 pickoff potential. I'm just very concerned about their level of control when it comes down to 3v3. If they can bounce the Nightmare back and forth on non-primary targets, I don't see Fear ever getting in range for a level 1 Burrow Strike. It's a tiny, tiny range. It's not even ranked up, so I can't see it, but it's a very small circle, just barely about him. It's, you know, very, very short. I can just tell you, 350 is nothing as far as closing the distance here. And of course, Faceless Void is not an offensive hero by any means. They can't set anything up, so they're going to be on the back foot. There is going to be... What the hell troll is that? No, just no.
Even if they get the Burrow Strike, I mean, assuming, like, let's assume everything goes perfectly. If they get the Nightmare off, they set up the Burrow Strike, then what? There's no damage to follow up, and I mean, then immediately the counter stuns come out. You get slapped around by the Impale, by the Light Strike Array, and you've got open wounds as well. It's just asking to get smacked. So I really don't see them going for the aggression. I mean, even if Mouse Sports, even this tri-lane doesn't get tons of kills, if it doesn't really do anything except stop Jo from pump, that's a win. That's all they want. They just want to slow Jo down and let Black get ahead. And of course, once you let Black farm, well, there's no stopping him. He's a bit of a runaway train there.
So I think this mid matchup is going to go well for Demon early. We'll see if Fata can get some big plays, some perfect timing where the refraction either expires or just goes out of charges. We'd actually see kills on damage on top. Jo's going to have to possibly time walk away. Now just taking a couple right clicks, no backtrack of course, so the poor range shield will help him survive through all that right click damage, but the spell damage is still there and he's dropped down to half his HP. Has to be cautious about how much regen he chews through. In the meantime, down on bottom, we are going to see the creep skip action from Bambo, just going past the creep wave here. Black has mana break, so a little bit of extra right click damage on health and mana as Bambo just tries to pull out the creep wave and burn it down with Ion Shell. Either way, Black goes on a long, long wild goose chase. Doesn't even care about the creeps hitting his tower. He just wants to screw over Bambo and get him out of the lane, and a couple of easy right clicks will accomplish just that. So Bambo is gone for a little while, and that allows Black to get some safe farm once he comes back to the lane. However, he has missed out on some experience, and that's unfortunate for him early on.
I mean, yeah, he's missing some experience, so it's not a big deal. I mean, Anti-Mage not the hugest level-dependent hero. I mean, he's picked up a level 2 at the very least, so he's got the blink and everything, so he'll be ready to go. And I mean, the main thing is, like,
actually,
Bambo,
it looks like
you said...
No, top lane, they're so close, but I thought they were going for a kill. Not yet, though.
I mean, I don't think they can really get the kill they want. They can't really get the Void at this point in time. They don't have the burst damage to lock him down. He's just got that time walk. He can get out of trouble if necessary. I mean, obviously they could try and pick off beaters or possibly even Sand King, although he's a little bit harder to grab just because he can Burrow Stroke into the trees or that sort of business if necessary. But I think, like you said, the main business down at the bottom is Bambo has lost a fair bit of mana and he can only use so many Ion Shells, which is definitely going to slow down his ability to harass Black all that much.
Yeah, precisely that. And Black, using his second point of mana break, he's really willing to just go toe-to-toe with Bambo. Any right clicks he can get will screw him over until he gets a Soul Ring. Of course, Soul Ring will make sure he can always cast the Ion Shell, but until he can actually farm that up, it's a very difficult position for him because he's losing so much mana from the mana breaks. Even if Iron Shell does a fair bit of harassment, that's what the pooled regen is for. That's what Anti-Mage has to duel back and forth. So his big thing here is even with his Stout Shield, he doesn't want to have to tank creep waves and last hit under tower. He just wants to screw over Bambo so that he can't put pressure out with the Iron Shell. We see up top there is going to be some right click damage from Jo. Could go in for Time Lock Body Block, but no, they're not going to actually connect. And Sand King still not even but halfway to level 2 is going to take his time. The big thing here is, of course, that pull being unavailable was just unblocked by the Sentry, so they'll have the 3-minute spawn. But until that point, not really too much as far as neutral experience heading the way of the supports.
I mean, if something's going right for for EG at the moment, is the fact that they've got Mouse Sports here. They've got Fatter in the mid, and he's not really shutting down the Templar Assassin. Templar Assassin's a little bit behind on the CS, but that's mostly because she's not spamming down the nukes, and also she's been leaving the lane to go and fetch the runes just to get that control. So I think she's going to be fairly okay to get it, or basically get up to speed there, get that early phase boots, pick up her early items, and go towards that blink. And once she gets that, she can try and put some pressure elsewhere on the map. But that said, I mean, she's trying to lock down a hero, and speaking of which, speaking of locking down, Bambo now is out of mana. Now he's actually in a really bad position there, although it looks at the shield, and he's picked up a bottle actually, so it should be enough regen to get him back to the tower at the very least. Anti-Mage isn't going to chase him under that.
Now the chase goes on. Open wounds up on Beatus here. Will pop off the Knight. Oh, they're just the Enfeeble onto Koikova. There is going to be a time walk coming in. Cinderin will be dropped down. The first blood spilled amongst the 3 involved. All 3 of them getting some nice gold out of that. Koikova does have his Rage available, but not having to use it just yet. He's not going to go in too deep here. They knew that they lost a lot with Cinderin falling so early on, and that's the defensive aspect of this tri-lane, where, yeah, they can't really get in range. Actually, the solo kill in mid is a really big deal. I saw him dropping quickly. Demon apparently connecting with a Melt Strike, not getting the phase shift timing that the puck was wanting, and Fata unfortunately gets dropped down, just using the trap, getting the Melt Strike, doing the damage, and being fearless under the tower because of that refraction. I think he also had a movement speed advantage. He had boots of speed on the TA, but not on the puck.
I'm going to say also, like, up in the top lane, I mean, the only real reason EG got that kill there is because Lina walked into a full wave of creep near the pool, and they got smacked around by a Burrow Strike and pinned down for that to happen. I mean, to be honest, I think Mousesports are probably being a little bit overzealous. They didn't really need to go diving that deep in or being quite that hyper-aggressive, because, I mean, like I said, all they really need to do is just slow Jo down with pressure. They don't necessarily need to kill him over and over and over. They just need to put the pressure on and make sure he can't really get that CS in.
Yeah, exactly that. But right now he's doing all right. He's going to be able to move in towards bigger and better items as time goes by. He is sitting at a CS of 13. That is behind Black on the Anti-Mage, but it's still okay considering the amount of pressure he's under. Speaking of Black, he's going for those Tranquil Boots, allowing him to sustain in the lane indefinitely. There's no way that the Darkseer can contest him 1v1. Like, directly, the mana break is too much. He's just going to have to Iron Shell the creep wave from afar, because going right up next to him is just going to be suicidal. We do see actually a couple stuns coming out on JO. Backtracks do come on through, though, so it's not going to be that big of an impact here, and he's going to be safe and sound, though he is forced to go for backtrack pretty hardcore out of just the huge amount of threatening presence that the team has provided. Actually, Mana Void down at bottom. Bambo will be dropped. Really, really good move for Black. Just continues the right-click barrage, and when he can jump under tower with that movement speed advantage from Tranquils, he is able to get enough burn that mana pool is more painful for Darkseer than it is helpful, as the Mana Void just brings it down very, very quickly. So another solo kill, but this time for Mousesports. They're putting points on the board.
And it looks like EG now in a little bit of trouble in the top lane. There's the Impale with a lot of damage count. Light Striker are going to follow up there, and there's a kill there on Fear. Sand King getting burst down by the tri-lane up in the top lane by Mouse. But at the same time, you know, while they're chasing him around, they're leading Jao with a bit of room to get stuck into the creep wave there. Has picked up his own Ring of Health there. So it looks like we've got Lina managing to snag a DD there away from Demon.
Yeah, very, very important. Demon with a double damage is going to be just so scary up against this Puck. I mean, Puck does have Dream Coil. It's difficult to dive in that circumstance, but if anybody can do it, certainly a Templar Assassin with a double damage rune, so there's a lot of risk involved there. We see Black actually being pursued under his tower, Bambo, really wanting to put that possibly Wall Replica to use. Getting the mana burn on Anti-Mage himself would mean that he doesn't have enough mana to blink, but we'll see. Right now, just harassing back with the Iron Shell damage, but Ring of Health and the Tranquil Boots just provide so much HP regen. He doesn't even care about the harass Bambo is putting on. Instead, just swings away, and in a moment, his Tranquils will be coming right back online, and he's going to be in a good spot. However, there's that gank from Fear. He does have a rank 2 Burrow Strike, but again, only 450 range. We'll see if it makes his impact here, but Black is going to scout him out in just a moment here, and knows exactly what he's up against. Too mobile to actually be dropped down, as long as he doesn't make a huge mistake.
We see the rotation here. I hear another teleport coming. Surge away, though. Puck is coming to the bottom lane there. Anti-Mage, I doubt he's going to be able to get Bambo. Bambo just backing up there. There's plenty of mana left to bounce that Mana Void if it was going to come. Now, Faceless Void about to hit level 6. Question is whether or not someone will teleport up here and try and take advantage of that unexpected level 6 and the Chronosphere just coming out of it, see if they can catch off Lina. I think the best bet, obviously, is to try and pick off Synderen as much as possible, just to A, alleviate some pressure, and B, obviously, if they can feed some early kills there, or at least assist there to the Faceless Void, that'd be very, very helpful. I hear a Burrow Strike coming in now. It looks like Batter now in some trouble. Going to phase shift away, though. Should be just fine with the Ethereal Jaundice. Whoa, no, Dream Coils!
Yeah, keeping him under the tower here. There's no retaliation, though, no TP. So I'm curious about the fact that he didn't go for the jaunt there. I was afraid of the initiation, but now is putting himself in a terrible spot. He only has rank 1 phase shift, so this orb, he's still going to take a lot of harassment. However, here comes Synderen with that defensive TP, leaving high and dry up top. Koikwa, he has the rage. He has to keep on moving with those phase boots, though, because his supports have, unfortunately, left him to make sure Fana is going to be safe in the mid lane. And instead, we see the flame coming in. There's going to be the Chronosphere popped off on Koikwa. This should be enough right-click damage, even with only a rank 1 time lock. He is going to pop off that rage, though, and they're not going to be able to pop off anything just yet. The the Brain Zap should come on through here to bring down Koikwa with the right-click. No, Nightmare's in place. They want to get the kill on the Faceless Void, and they certainly accomplish that. No, Bane finishes it out. Either way, pause. There is a wall replica active. There is a nice light circle array, but it's going to be pause to drop first, despite the magic stick. He tried to bring down a return kill on the Bane. Synderen gets that, and now Black is going to go on the offensive. Going on Bambo. Only has a rank 4 Iron Shell, so it is going to harass him back quite a bit, but happy to get some easy clicks in to burn down his mana very, very rapidly. And now Puck has joined the fray. He doesn't have his Dream Coil, of course, since he used it in the mid lane, but still able to counter push things out and help defend in case there are further dives.
So it looks like, well, it looked like he was trying, Anti-Mage was looking for Mana Void. However, those magic wands, Darkseer popping a pretty much a full charge and managing to get himself up to a respectable amount to prevent the insta-give there. So it looks like Demon now rotating down to the bottom lane, just trying to put some pressure on this bottom tower as Lifestealer's also rotated back down there as well to take the pressure off the tower.
Yeah.
Just looking at Fear at the moment, I think he's probably going to try and pick up those Arcane Boots as quick as possible. Obviously, Sand King very, very mana dependent now. They're going to smoke up now. The question is whether or not they're going to go. I think they're going to head to the bottom lane and try and pick off Lifestealer once again. They can't really get the Anti-Mage just yet. Bane's still lacking that level 6 for the Fiends. Oh, actually, no, they might be rotating to mid. We'll see them go after this mid now.
Yeah, moving on forward there. There are 3 heroes. Little do they know that they could be walking into trouble here, but Darkseer can come on in, has everything but the Wall of Replica available. Actually, Iron Shell already active himself, using his bait. They want him to go in on top of him, pause, looking for the mana burn, but they realize how many people, seeing the wards, seeing the traps, they know that they can't just dive under a tower with these 3 people, so they're going to rotate back around to a safer position, back on their end of the map, and maybe go for a more favorable engagement from that vector.
Yeah, it looks like they were trying to bait that blinking with the Anti-Mage, trying to set things up. Not going to happen, though. Black getting it slowed by a side trap. Will be able to just blink out if he really does get into any trouble at all. Now, just look at the last hits and denies. Void sitting on 37 and 3. Anti-Mage 50 and 3 at the moment of the 10-minute mark. So Anti-Mage definitely a fair bit ahead there. Also, we see a Haste Rune going to be bottled up there by Demon. So they're going to rotate bottom. Maybe pick off the Lifestealer again. I think Lifestealer knows he might be in some trouble. Getting ready to TP out. Grabs himself a TP. Also has those phases up. They might actually just go for a push here on the bottom tower. It is fairly heavily damaged. Looks like they will just try and take some hits there on Bambo as well, but they're going to have to back off. They know they're outnumbered.
Yeah, in this position here, it kind of feels like EG is scrambling around a lot. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but they just keep on trying to get a favorable engagement where they have numbers advantages or just a surprise on their side. So they have weird movements. I mean, we saw Demon pushing the tower down bottom while everybody else rotated top. We now see up top that they switched up entirely what they're looking at. Actually, Time Walk will come on through. Synderen going to possibly suffer a bash. No, the Chronosphere comes out. The Light Strike Ray Impale as well. Will they get enough damage here with the Brain Sap? The Time Walk is going to secure that kill there. There is going to be a mana burn. Jaya won't be able to run away as easily, but it's going to be Bdiz that's under the most pressure. They wake up. Koikwa, he's going to go on in for the kill, but unfortunately doesn't have the damage to bring down a Bane of that HP value. It's just too much. Meanwhile, in mid lane, a little bit of back and forth. Burrow Strike apparently did not hit either way. Black is sitting very high and dry at almost 600 HP, feeling pretty confident about his position here. Templar Assassin finishing up the tier 1 on bottom, so action all over the map.
And I think, I'm just looking at Faceless Void, he's not doing too bad. I'm just trying to check the GPM at the moment. Just look at the Faceless Void, I mean, 310. He's actually ahead of the Anti-Mage at the moment. I think it's mostly thanks to the tower that was just picked up in the bottom lane there. Demon managing to snag that while they got the gank off. And it's pretty good engagement for EG. Not only do they pick off one of the squishy supports and just feed a bit of an assist kill there at the same time, they also snag that tier 1. So that's going to really limit farming options down there. Not so much for the Anti-Mage, of course. Anti-Mage is fairly difficult to gank, as long as you've got the wards up to watch for trouble coming. But it's going to really make it difficult for Lifestealer to continually rotate down there to just snag the farm if necessary, if he's getting forced out of that top lane. Although at the moment it looks like he's actually just going to abuse the dire jungle at the moment.
Yeah, so just find opportunities there. Of course, the Feast allowing him to sustain up against even the meteor of creeps, able to survive against that, and still just DPS on down. Putting some pressure, also Cinderin farming up the wave up top and trying to bring down the tower gradually. It's sitting at 480 HP, so it could be something to look to go for in the near future, but they're going to need to win a fight first, and right now they seem to kind of be on the back foot. Of course, 5-3 speaks a little bit of volumes there for Evil Genius's advantage as far as the skirmishes go. But when it comes down to a 5 versus 5 engagement, there's a lot of potential with the initiation of the puck and followed up by some good stuns coming out of the two supports. So I'm expecting a lot from them, but the timing this is to turtle up until Sand King gets a level 7 burrow and of course the Bane picking up his ultimate at level 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think EG is in a good spot here at the moment. Like, the Void is doing fairly okay. He's not in any serious danger of entering that mid-game sort of really, really under-farmed, so they should be fine. There's a hero Burrow Strike in there on Park Fatter now in a little bit of trouble, though he can F3 or join out if necessary. In fact, they might actually try and dive in here on Hero, although Fear has a stun up in a few seconds. But meanwhile, it looks like we've got a gank up on top. Yeah,
Koikwa going to get Chronosphered on in, going to burst him down quickly, but it's actually going to be huge, huge damage coming out on Lina. Demon not able to finish off with the Meld Strike alone. Timeout goes on pause, but there is going to be a Carapace. Nice move from Beatus, canceling out his Brain Sap, following it up after the fact, but unfortunately no follow-up, so they do not pick up Lina. She's able to just TP away, juking on into trees, and most importantly, they get everybody else out entirely, so they can now kind of bolster their lineup, reinforce up on this top tier 1, and they should be able to keep it perfectly up there with right now 1100 HP, no real threat involved, and Fada's even up here to counter push away with that orb, and now jumping in and getting a little bit of harassment on a Jo, but the perseverance of his own Battle Fury is going to be enabling him to just stay on the lane pretty effectively.
Quite interesting. He's actually going for a Battlefield. It's an interesting choice. I mean, when you're going for farming options on Void, I mean, if you really want that tool to help you farm with the creep waves and just cut through them fairly quickly, I honestly the opinion that the Maelstrom's a better option just because the attack speed, obviously Void enjoys the attack speed a little bit more than the Anti-Mage does because the bashes are so vital in the middle of those fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't. I mean, they do have the vacuum. That is a bit of a cluster mechanism that can allow the Battle Fury to do more damage in the team fights as a whole. But yeah, it's really just about farming right now, and both items are beneficial. The Maelstrom can, of course, provide more potential with the time locks, and the Battle Fury will be relying more on the Darkseer. But as a whole, either pickup will definitely help the Face of Void in this situation. He just wants to stay on par with the Anti-Mage, since right now his net worth is just barely behind it, and the biggest thing is Anti-Mage is a hero that can get away so quickly with high GPM. When he has Max Blink and the Battle Fury up, he's pretty much the fastest farmer in the game, and you have to get something big to be able to compete with that.
This is true. So Lifesteal, though, has picked up the drums. Expecting him to pick up that armlet fairly soon as well. Well, not so much fairly soon, but he should have it by about the 20-minute mark. I think if he keeps up this rate of farming, is catching up in terms of GPM, almost up to the 300 mark yet again. Park now. I think he's still searching for that blinked arrow. Of course, we do have that blink on. In fact, Templar has had her blink for a little while now. Also got a haste room bottled up. The question is whether or not she's going to try. I don't think they're going to. She's not going to try and put that much pressure on the map. Obviously, the hero that she really, really wants to kill, Puck as well as Anti-Mage, both of them are too difficult for her to catch alone. She really needs help with the lockdown to keep them still. Otherwise, they're very difficult, very slippery, and hard to catch. She's just going to focus on putting pressure on these towers to bust them down, get that early extra gold there for
Ooh, top
Void.
lane.
Speak your Void, yeah.
Really, really bad situation. Pause has that Vendetta Strike coming on through. Oh my goodness, the timing there. They had the Dire Ward, Sentry Ward, in the perfect position to see what was coming. The second that he saw the Nyx, didn't want to let him get in range for Vendetta, was able to time walk away, which is so important because, of course, Koikwa was infested inside, and that right-click damage would have been too much when the infest came out, unless there were the luckiest backtracks of his life. Meanwhile, Anti-Mage taking a lot of hits here down on bottom. The Epicenter comes out, but to no avail. He is able to blink away Demon in pursuit with the haste active. Blink on cooldown for 10 more seconds, though. He blinks at the trees, he TPs on out. The trap will give some vision, but not fast enough for them to be able to do anything about it. So, unfortunately, they do not bring him down. They didn't actually get the Fiend's Grip off, which is obviously what set it up. They couldn't finish him off, and I'm guessing that was just the Sand King getting it a little bit too early. Goes for the Burrow Strike and Epicenter, but can't finish off the Anti-Mage as he's not locked down with follow-up.
Well, yeah, that's just it. If you don't have the follow-up stun, Anti-Mage is just going to blink away. There's not much you can do about it all. Speaking of follow-up, it looks like Templar Assassin has decided to pick up a Crystal. She's going straight for that Bruiser, going straight for flat-out damage. Not too worried about getting locked down by stuns, of course. Does need to worry about Lina, as the stuns as well from Lina, as well as Nyx, and then, of course, Puck has some annoying abilities as well. But that said, I mean, Demon, as long as he gets his Refraction up first, he's fairly... He can dodge a lot of damage from Mouse because a lot of the damage is contained in high burst values, so he's not too worried about that. Also, just going to use those meld hits just to help burst down Roshan. Of course, the negative armor really helps drill through Roshan early on, and they'll pick up that Aegis, in fact, going to give it to the Templar Assassin. I think that's the best choice, seeing as she's the one most likely to be fighting. Void, on the other hand, at this point in time, most likely just to jump in, get the Chrono down, and then just deal a little bit of damage. But it looks like he is indeed going for that full Battle Fury. Has picked the Claymore as well, just waiting. 600 more gold, and he'll have his Battle Fury up and running. Speaking of Battle Furies, Anti-Mage is not too far away from his either.
Yeah, exactly that. And he's going to be able to farm more extensively, but with the loss of the Tier 1 tower recently, and now these wards that are up aggressively that he obviously knows about since he's been initiated on in his own jungle, he's going to have to find very secure places to farm. There is some stacking going up on the western creeps, or some pulling back at least. Now we do see Black crossing paths with Fear here. But yeah, his big thing is going to be trying to time the use of the Battle Fury. He's only 200 gold away from it, and then he will be able to farm things up like the Ancient Creeps and such. He just needs to know the right position to do so, because otherwise there is a lot of gank potential with the Fiend's Grip. Now we do see up on top, Jo actually barely on the edge of the Chronosphere will catch out Korkova, and this should be a Burst Strike to connect on him as well. No rage just yet, just came off cooldown. He will try to turn it around here, could go for an Infest inside Cinderin, but here comes Black, delivering the damage here. The right clicks are there, some backtracks going across, but not enough to save Jo as he gets bursted down by Anti-Mage's ultimate.
So good rotations there, and Cinderin once again comes in with a save. That light strike away, very, very nice, catching both those heroes, setting things up for the counter attack. Also, Black jumping in the right moment there. Looks like Demon's going to walk right past with the invisibility rune. Looks like he might be able to set something up here. Oh, Crush got so easy for him to kill. Of course, not going to help him out. That rage not really going to help at all. Demon just slamming through him with that bonus damage. Very, very high damage potential. 200 plus a swing at the moment.
Desperately wishing he had his armlet now, because that would have kept him alive easily, but just too much damage forthcoming. That's a very, very scary Templar Assassin.
And of course, Nate's not the most amount of armor in the first place to begin with. It looks like Parker's going to try and steal a kill there on the tower. Not going to happen though. Fear standing right there and gets it denied very, very easily.
Yeah. Got to highlight real quick though, Cinderin has been on the ball with these Light Strike arrays. Honestly, a lot of kill potential coming on through from a lot of the movement from Evil Geniuses. Like, great timing, but just Cinderin always seems to be at the right place at the right time. He has unfortunately fed a couple times, just being in those skirmishes so frequently and being such a squishy hero, only having 3 armor right now. But in general, Cinderin has been active, not feeding nearly as much as Alina normally would against a Templar Assassin, and has found a couple of really, really great stuns that have completely turned some engagements around. Now we do see Evil Geniuses smoking things up, trying to make something happen, possibly down towards where Cinderin's position is. As far as Dire Vision, they have the trap, but Cinderin is just going to be moving over to ward up on their Ancients. But they smoke on through, going across, and this is a dangerous position for both Cinderin and Black on the Anti-Mage.
But so EG, they really want this kill, and they're going to make sure it happens without picking off Fear. Fear is getting closer and closer to that Blink Dagger. Once he gets that Blink, he's going to be so much more dangerous. So they really want to land this kill, or at the very least make sure they don't get Sand King picked off in the counter. Oh, Cinderin, you said he was in a bad position. No kidding at all. Templar Assassin going to take that kill, though. But Sand King, again, inching his way closer and closer to that Blink.
But all being said and done, the smoke was going to get a kill, most likely, one way or another, that positioning, and it was Black actually just behind the tree line, very, very close to being dropped down there. So if you have to go between, unfortunately, losing your Lina because she was in the wrong position and the smoke gank was very effective, or losing the Anti-Mage, of course you're going to prefer to keep Black alive there. So he does respond appropriately, he does stay up, but they do lose the Lina once more, and now a lot of very, very aggressive warding coming out. They're like, okay, well, he's got his Battle Fury, he's in farm mode, let's negate his farm potential. Just get sentry wards out. The next 3 minutes they won't be seeing spawns from these creep camps.
I don't think he's not so much trying to stop farm. See how he's placed these? He's placed at the 2-1s closest to the towers. He's trying to force him further in the jungle. See how they've also got wards placed for line of sight? They're trying to force him over to this camp here, and potentially these camps over here, just to make him more gankable. They just want him to move out to the positions where they can kill him. It's not so much to disrupt his, specifically to say, ha ha ha, you can't farm creep here. It's to specifically put him in a bad spot to get him killed. And I think it's very smart coming out of EG. I like what they've done, but it looks like BDs will be killed for his trouble. Ooh. Laguna Blade.
Yeah.
Not much you can do about that.
Big burst just coming in front loaded there. Jay's going to pop off that Chronosphere, popping off that, Dream Coil, to be able to run on out of here. The Tread's going to be quick enough to get him out of a rough spot. There was an Infest waiting for him there, so the only casualty is actually going to be the Bane. Just kind of ran face first into a heck of a lot of magic damage and did get dropped down, but here comes Demon all the way in. That double damage strike from the meld, so insane. Of course, with the Crystallis cutting in to Synderen. So painful. And he can do that because he has the Aegis Immortal. He's fearless in those situations and knows that even if a bad situation occurs, he can come back up, and his team generally will be able to back him up. But yeah, Bambo finding a kill himself on the Nyx Assassin. Didn't really catch that, but we see the wall replica was used, and to great effect there. Koikwa found out in a bad spot as well, and he does get dropped down himself. Not sure about that positioning, as now that's a third pick-off, and they only needed one.
Well, he thought he was okay. He thought, you know what, if I'm in bad position, I'll just rage and TP out. You know what? Bash. Bash. A goddamn bash right to the face.
There you go.
Just so this is his first. It was the first hit. Just the first hit there for Void. Bashed him out of the teleport. You've got to feel bad about that. Oh, Burrow strike. Puck. And then hit by a meld. EG are all over this one at the moment. It looks like they're really having trouble. I like the way that they're strangling this map, making sure Anti-Mage, although, you know, he got that Battle Fury on time, now he's really struggling to finish off his next item.
Yeah, absolutely. Just complete control from Evil Geniuses. Like, very different from what we've seen in the past 10 minutes of the game. Just completely changed their face, their momentum, their presence here. As they're like, okay, well, we have Roshan. We have a nice little level advantage as a result of that. We can feed away a little bit of life from the TA because we have the Aegis. And they can go huge aggression. They made it so Anti-Mage doesn't have vulnerable, safe places to farm. Pushing him further into the jungle, he's now forced to either not farm creeps at all, push out in a completely different lane, or get locked down. And so with good ward vision, using the Aegis and the crit very effectively with aggressive play from Demon, and now finding the Blink Dagger on Sand King, they just have opened a can of worms where they can just jump in and deliver immense amounts of damage in a very swift fashion. Now, even going to punish Black in this aggressive position here. He has a TP scroll, should be able to jump in the trees in just a moment, and that's exactly what he will do. But still, a lot of control coming from Evil Geniuses, and I don't think they're going to let up.
Did we mention the fact that Sand King is carrying a gem?
Yeah, that is very impactful.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something that Fnatic, I mean, this is what they really see the difference between this and Fnatic's game. This is something that Fnatic really wanted, this gem, to give them this map control. So they see some of the really weird, actually, ward placements that we've got there from Mousebots. In fact, you've got one right behind the tier 1 bottom tower just to try. I mean, this is their desperate attempt to try and make this bottom lane farmable for Anti-Mage so they can see TPs coming. See there, it spots up the Darkseer coming in. Anti-Mage knows that whether or not he needs to back out, but of course, Smoke Ganks will still mess him up something severe. But at the same time, I really like the fact that they've invested in this early gem. Sure, they did wait for Sand King to get the Blink Dagger before they really went for this, but this is going to give them so much map control. And you see here the counter wards being thrown out from Mouseball. It's something they can quite easily just go and pick off and then replace it with their own wards. Also like the fact that they're also throwing out yet more blocking wards. This one more at the Ancients, just trying to stop the creep spawns more than anything else to prevent farming.
Exactly that. Yeah, I actually really liked the ward that you're mentioning there between the two towers on bottom lane. That was what Synderen actually gave his life for, as far as getting that ward up. But the big impact there is there's a lot of... The question is the positioning of a smoke gank and where you want to start off. You want it to last as long as possible so you have more time to roam around and find that pickoff. But at the same time, you have to do it in a position that's not scouted on out. And so we kind of see this one good ward where if they do happen to be at their tier 2 and smoking up from there, that's very visible to Mousesports and can signal Anti-Mage to Black off. So Black is more secured and is going to be able to farm up his full Manta style now. But the question is whether or not it'll be enough now that Face of Void has just gotten so much of an advantage. Looking at his net worth here, he is still technically behind, but a BKB Battle Fury Face of Void comparing to a Manta Anti-Mage, I think Jo, with a good ultimate, has that much more teamfight presence.
Oh, definitely. Of course, Anti-Mage does have that huge right-click player, but I mean, even like a super fan Anti-Mage is going to struggle towards the late game. You just instantly obliterate all of his teammates before they can really do a whole lot of it while they're stuck inside that Chronosphere. So we'll see what they've got up their sleeve. But I mean, you get off a good Chrono and then you follow up with an Epicenter. It's pretty much lights out for Puck, for Lina. Probably lose the Nyx in the middle. Probably lose the Nyx in the middle of that as well, which leaves sort of a 2v5 scenario. It's not really good odds, especially since Void is pretty good in a one-on-one right-click battle with that bash, that innate bash and backtrack. Very difficult to shut him down, especially if he picks up that butterfly as well. But it looks like they will pick off Templar Assassin, just 4v1, too much for her, and a Dream Call and a Silence to finish her off as well. Yeah,
really good pick there. I mean, that's a level 16 hero with a mega kill streak, 500 gold going that way, and she's going to be gone for a minute. That's a lot of relief coming from Black, where it's just another load off his mind, where he can go and just farm. But Mousesports are not really having the vision to make sure that that's a reality. So coming on in, Jo, you don't see a ganking Face of Void very often, but in this situation he's just controlling the jungle. He's saying, this is my camp, this is my house, and I'm going to be able to pick up the farm while you have to hide with your allies. And as they group up, that gives more opportunities for the Face of Void to come out on top. Right now, of course, still behind in GPM, but happy to get every little bit of gold he can, so that he can come out on top comparatively, because he can do so much more late game with those items.
Oh wow, look at these. Okay, now they really are just trying to stop Anti-Mage from farming. They're not even bothering trying to gank me here. It's just, look at every single camp watered up.
Yeah, force him out of the jungle entirely. You flush him out, and where's he going to go?
Pretty well. Looks probably seeing what Anti-Mage has been doing, probably in their own jungle. He'll wind up in the Dire jungle trying to farm that. And I mean, without any vision over there, I mean, he can do that fairly freely. Like he's doing it right now. They've got no vision in their own jungle, so he's just, you know what, I'm just going to head over there and do that then.
Yep, exactly that. But they're going to go for the Roche respawn real quick, bringing that down. The Meld Strike doing work here, bringing Roche's armor down to -2, amplifying all the physical damage forthcoming, and the reason they can't contest this is Fear's high ground positioning. They have, again, a gem, but most importantly, they have Sand King's potential to just deliver a huge epicenter. He's level 11, he's got this Ghost Scepter, which is later going to be looking for an Ethereal, but for right now, huge magic damage potential in an AoE, and the only one that can really live through that is going to be the Anti-Mage or the Lifestealer if he gets the Rage off before the Burrow. So that's going to be easy to bring down the supports, and as such, Fear feels very confident to set up his team for that kind of a pick-off. And now they're going to go in. They're looking for high ground push. We see kind of an arrow. Of course, they would love to get a pick before the push, but even so, Darkseer plus Sand King, I think with a good team fight, that they have an easy potential with this Aegis to go 5v5, even up against the high ground.
There's definitely a possibility. I mean, I don't think your Mouse Sports would have tried to contest that. There's no way they would have tried to contest that. They had no vision at all because of the gems spotting up all their wards, and they'd be insane, like you said, with the Sand King. They know there's a Sand King waiting for them. There's no way he'd try and go there without them, but it looks like they're going to get a gank here. The Vorono gets tossed out by Jao, going to catch Pass, and a vacuum in brings Puck inside. There's the epicenter, and it looks like Mouse Sports are going to get destroyed. Look at that go. Fear just going to pop his Ghost Scepter and just back the hell out, make sure he doesn't get picked off there. Lena will manage to back out, so it's Lena and Nake's getting... Oh, no, I spoke too soon. Just Lena.
Yeah.
Just Synderen.
It would have been nice if he hadn't infested the creep and instead was able to jump into Lena, who was the taxi service to kind of get away. But no, she gets out, and the Lifesteal does get dropped down, but my goodness, that combo. Vacuuming it into the Chrono, and then Fear the whole time charging up that epicenter, just ready to burn down everybody there. That is just so devastating. In that specific position was the perfect setup, and honestly, a great initiation from Jo, setting it up so that Fear can pretty much be the last word. Epicenter, dropping them down very, very quickly. They take out 3 heroes still in the grave. They take down the tier 2 and looking for some damage up on this tier 3 as well.
I mean, this is the trouble with smoke ganks. If you go in a blind smoke gang, it's pretty much a roll on the dice. You really got to hope you don't walk into a bad situation. And this is why I feel like heroes like Beastmaster, who can give that scouting vision, are so vital to a good smoke gang. The fact they can, wow, he almost dies in one hit there.
Yeah, coming on in.
Puck jump in.
Yeah, trying to do something, but here comes that Sand King Burrow Strike. We'll lock down Synderen right here. They can probably go with the melee axe. Now that they get the Sheepstick from Darkseer and immediately incinerate. Oh my gosh, buybacks everywhere. The Nyx drop, the Lena's back in it. Now Black trying to bring down Demon quickly. The Laguna Blade certainly will accomplish that, but might be able to blink out of this respawn here. The Anti-Mage Illusion is too quick, though, and now he's just going to go on the run. Can't even meld, uses it, but will get dropped. Almost brings down Black. The damage, the Desolator, the crit. Oh, it's so close to actually finishing off Black as well, but they do lose a lot there. They pop off only, I think, 2 buybacks. So only Lena and the Nyx bob back, but instead they bring down 4. They bring down 4 heroes, 1 Aegis the Immortal, and that is a really, really big deal to hold the line and keep these racks active.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely could have been a worse outcome indeed. I mean, wow, let's see recovery Mouse need after such a catastrophic team fight up the top. Looks like EG just went a little bit too early. Kind of discounted exactly how much they needed that Chrono. Well, discounted how much they needed those 2 big ults. Of course, the Chrono as well as the Epicenter didn't really have them up again for that second fight. But you know what? They've sort of wasted the Aegis, but at the same time, Templar Assassin is getting to the point where, you know what, she wants another item anyway, so no big deal, I think. I think EG is still in a commanding position here. They'll quite easily be able to open it. I mean, at the very least, they did at least take the town, put a lot of damage in that melee racks, so they have opened that. One bad team fight could indeed mean Mouse Sports are losing 1 racks, if not more.
Yeah, Pete is in an awkward position, but using himself as bait for Fear to jump on top of Synderen there, burning him down, quick little epicenter, it'll be back up in 110, so not all lost there, and of course a lot gained now that they can just deward the wards that were placed immediately, and on top of that, just getting a nice little pick off again. Synderen sitting down himself 3-6-3, not having the best game, doing what he can, but still in a rough position. We do see Paz was able to get the Gem of True Sight out of that last team fight, so he's going to be in a pretty good position to try to get more control. But right now, just sentries being so active from BDiz, they're going to still have complete control of the jungle. And even, not only are they sentry warding out the camps, but the ones that happen to spawn in the meantime, they're burning them down as well. So they're taking the jungle camps that are, the jungle creeps that did spawn, and making sure that none will replace them.
My God, this is probably the most active warding I've ever seen in a game so far. As it looks like Demon up at the top lane, just going to meld there to try and get himself out of trouble. Apparently, has his gem, has not been brought up to that top lane. As it looks like, in the meantime, Bambo just going to continue pushing down the mid, just going to counter push down there, keep the pressure on. As Mouse Sports very wisely try and keep this top lane pushed out as much as possible to try and keep that tower in the mid lane, or that Rax, the top lane, safe. So you're going to see the ports come back from Mouse Sports to defend. And meanwhile, though, it looks like EG are just going to collapse back towards their own jungle.
Yep, safe and sound here. There's really no easy way for Mousesports to penetrate this position, and so they'll get a couple of creep camps that are still active, but they won't get any respawns, and that means that Evil Geniuses are going to be able to come ahead on farm. Right now, the last hits go the way of Black for 243, and Jo only has 167, but that's kind of to be expected with the presence of an anti-mage, and Black still being one of the most extensive farmers in the Western scene. So Jo still keeping on point and now picking up this Mask of Madness, which is a really, really big pick in my opinion. Early Mask of Madness, it's good for combat, but it's very risky. With a Black King Bar and a max backtrack, you actually are very confident about this position. So he'll go in with the Chronosphere, he'll pop the BKB, and he'll have that Mask of Madness active, and there's nothing to stop him, just delivering out so much damage, and they're ready to go for the next team fight. The Epicenter back off cooldown, jumping in towards his top lane to push it down very, very quickly before the Anti-Mage gets his next big item.
Yeah, here we go. They're going to cause some massive damage here, and of course we've got the Chrono as well as the big combo ready to go with the Epicenter. I think EG are probably going to feel very confident about this, as it looks like not much of a response here from Mouse Sports at the moment. I think they may actually just trade a Rax here. Do they? They don't even. They do have to lift up. They can try and stall it a bit. I don't agree with this at all. What are they doing?
I mean, I guess they feel like they can't fight it, but trading a tier 1 for a melee Rax and trading a tier 2 for a range Rax, it seems insane. They're waiting for their opportunity, waiting for their window, but that's not going to change. The situation is still going to be here. The status quo remains. Jo and Demon do a shit ton of damage and are bringing down another tier 3. Now Paz coming in, bursting down hard on Face of Void, jumping in. They will bring him down before the burst rate comes on through. Fear jumping with an Epicenter. Black is Fiend's grabbed up. He will be dropped down despite the spell shield. Cinderin right click down quickly by the Anti-Mage by Demon. Bursted hard. There's the buyback from both the Puck and the Anti-Mage coming back on in. Fata wants to accomplish something. Here's Black with the Infested Lifestealer trying to clean up Bamboo here. They do accomplish that. Quite well popping his armlet to stay alive despite the cleave from the side blades. So they do clean up very, very nicely, but they lose so much in the process. They buy back on their carry. And now the Rack's getting cleaned up again by Demon. Might just destroy the gem, not too sure, but right now they've taken 3 Racks, they've taken 2 tier 3 towers, and of course now they have the Gem of True Sight. They walk away with so much, and it's because of Mouse's hesitation.
I mean, yeah, I can agree with the fact that they thought, you know, we can't really win this fight all that easily, and they sort of waited for EG to sort of get a little bit out of position. But as you saw, I mean, 2 Raxes and 2 Raxes in a tier 3, definitely not worth a tier 1 and 2. No way, not even close.
So short term, it did allow them to win that fight. They kind of came in an unexpected time. They jumped in hardcore with the Manta style right when the Nyx connected with the stun. So it was really, really great to catch them off guard and give them any chance in the world to win the fight. But again, the overall our overarching theme is that EG comes out on top because the long-term advantages far outweigh a single lost team fight.
Well, that, and I'm honestly not even sure Mouse Sports technically won that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, Templar Assassin was still gunning for them. In fact, they had to run away. If we were going to say, you know, they won the fight, they would have been pushing Templar Assassin out of the base. But the fact is, TA is pretty fat. She's got a Daedalus, she's got a Desolator at 35 minutes. It's pretty hard to argue with her when she's starting to dish out that damage from her refractions.
Yeah.
She is doing well over, like, she's doing around about 300 damage a hit there. It's very difficult to deal with. And with all that negative armor, even something like Black, he's going down to almost negative armor at that point in time. Like, he's going down to 1-2 points of armor. So he's got no damage reduction to speak of. He cops a crit to the face. He is dropping health very quickly, even with this Reaver.
Yeah, exactly. So he has some spell resistance, only actually 2 points at spell shield, so I feel at this stage, maybe the scalability of stats, especially with a Reaver, that stats isn't going to be as impactful. We do actually miss a pick off Nyx Assassin in mid, but that's just them jumping on in, using the time walk in, bringing him down very, very quickly, so good movement there. And we actually see a very weird position from Cinderin and Black. They're like in a position I would expect Evil Geniuses to be in, up on this top lane. But no, they're pushing it out very gradually, while most of the gankers are down in the Radiant jungle, so switching it up a little bit here. But we are going to see some pretty big item pickups come on through shortly. We're going to see Monkey King Bar up on Templar Assassin, already purchased, buying out for it in full, and then along with that, the Sand King very close to a Scythe of Ice, just needs the 2100 gold Ultimate Orb, which means he's not even but 1700 away.
And sure, as I mentioned, we've got the assault there on Lifesteal. Definitely needed that quite badly, especially not just for himself, but for Anti-Mage as well, just to try and deal with that mass negative armor coming out of the Templar Assassin, as it looks like she's picking up a Monkey King Bar as well to help deal with a potential Butterfly Anti-Mage, although it doesn't look like he's going anywhere near that.
Chrono.
Oh, there we go, Chrono, and Fatter is going to die in 2 hits. He gets critted for about 1200 damage there, and there's the Hex as well. Anti-Mage goes down like a sack of crap. Nothing he can do at all.
That was like a 2-second team fight. I mean, especially when you talk about the fact that time was stopped based on the Time Lord jumping on in. Man, that was like a 0-second team fight. They got the current sphere off, perfect positioning. Fata just blinked in to try to make something happen there. Instead, Templar Assassin on the outside had enough range to deliver so much damage, and of course, Faces Void wailing away with the Mask Magnus active as well. They knew it was lost. They call it. Good game comes on through because, honestly, Evil Geniuses just took this game by storm. Really, really good movement there. It all changed up when they started ganking in the enemy's jungle, and they were able to get so many advantages all at once. When they cleaned it up and got like 4 kills straight, got Sand King's Blink, all these things just really, really clicked. And Evil Geniuses' lineup became devastating despite previously being so defensive. So there was a very, very big paradigm shift for these players here. And as a result, good game, well played. Evil Genius, take it away. As in this best of 1, Mouse Sports gets knocked out.
Well, that's it. That's all she wrote. I'm definitely a little bit disappointed in Mouse Sports trialing up in the top lane. I think they definitely gave away. That first blood really just didn't need to happen. It was just a little bit over-aggressive. And in the end, really, Void just kept finding room to farm, which is what they really wanted to prevent. I mean, they didn't need to kill him. They just needed to make sure he didn't have room to farm. Same way that EG, they weren't necessarily killing Anti-Mage through that mid-game, but they were pressuring his jungle so hard to make it really, really difficult for him to find that farm that he wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he got some nice items in the end, but he definitely could have snowballed out of control a lot faster. As it was as well, the Templar Assassin also, Puck could not control him. And in fact, this entire team really couldn't control him all that easily, because basically too much burst damage. They didn't have any of those small hits like the Iron Shell just to basically bullets down the refraction.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be it here. We see that Evil Geniuses take it away. Well played to them. Very, very rough game, but yeah, that's how it goes. They fight it out. They get the Face of Void farmed. And my goodness, was that Templar Assassin able to take it away. So good game, well played to them. They will advance forward to our final series, I believe, if I'm remembering the brackets right. Again, this is our first shot at this new format, the Demon Edge Cup. But I believe they're going up against Virtus Pro in a best-of-3 to determine who's going to take this first place.
I think we've got the losers brackets first.
Okay.
The position for 3rd and 4th first. So that'll be Mouse Sports versus...
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Q-Panda, yeah.
So it looks like that'll be a best of 1 between those two, Mouse Sports and Cuphead Red Pandas. And then we'll be seeing what those two teams bring. And finally, of course, Virtus Pro versus Evil Geniuses for the winners finals there to decide 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The point values there. You can check it out on the PremierLeague.eu, how those point values go on into them moving on forward towards the Premier Cup, which is where the cash prize is located at there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this match. I kind of, despite all the remakes, I think it was worth the wait. Really, really great to see Jo just hitting his stride and just Demon play so aggressively there. Really, really smooth Dota from them. And yeah, good game, well played. Moving on into the next one in just a few minutes, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in.
I think it's time for another mass heal strat.
Absolutely.